Hey guys, welcome back to my jonboat restoration video. This is part 2. Here at this point, what we're doing, I am cutting the exterior grade plywood out for the new transom. The reason I'm using plywood for the transom is it was 1 inch, it needed to be 1 inch thick. Okay, I couldn't just use a piece of treated lumber, a 2x12. That's 1.5 inches, and it wouldn't fit in the channel. So what I ended up doing here, I had 1/2 inch plywood, exterior grade, not marine plywood. It's just exterior grade plywood, but then I waterproofed it real heavy. I had to glue 2 pieces together with some construction adhesive, which is what I'm doing here. And then I screwed it together with 1 inch drywall screws to get a good tight fit. And then I actually let the thing dry for a good couple weeks before I ever got to it as far as waterproofing and painting it. So you got to understand that this boat build was over about a 9-month process. I started it, I think, beginning of September of 2023, and I finished it at the end of April 2024. I was trying to get it ready for a trip to Pymatuming Reservoir up in Pennsylvania, because on that lake you could only use a 20 up to a 20 horse motor. So my goal was to get this boat redone, get a smaller motor on it, and take it up there and be able to fish out of it, because my current boat has a 40 horse motor, and that just doesn't work on the lake up there. Plus, I just wanted to restore it and see if we could do it. So what I'm doing here, this is the rail that the transom fits in. It's aluminum. I cleaned it all up, sanded it, and cleaned it up with some acetone, and getting ready to put some oil-based enamel paint on it, which is what I use on the interior of the boat. It's like a khaki color. And I use it on the wood. I put 2 coats on everything, and I put it on nice and heavy, and I let it dry for weeks before I ever touched it and started getting to it. I brush it on nice and heavy. Just let it dry. A good oil-based paint takes a while to dry. It really does. And I will say this, it stuck straight to the sanded aluminum. I sanded it, cleaned it with acetone, and painted it. Stuck to it. Nothing's peeled off, nothing came off. I just gave it time to dry. Same with the wood. I didn't prime the wood. I put it directly to it. But like I said, I gave it 2 coats. And we let it dry for, well, from the time I painted to the time I installed it in the boat was probably about 4 or 5 months. So it had plenty of time to dry. Okay guys, so here's the plan. We're going to make a 3-foot deck off the top. We're going to come out to here. Probably going to make a access either on top or on the bottom here. We're going to keep our life jackets, first aid kit, possibly a trolling motor battery, that kind of stuff in this area. So that's the plan. We're going to make it out of pressure treated lumber. Then I'm going to waterproof it, and then most likely carpet it. And as long as you keep this out of the weather after you build your boat, there's not a problem using wood. It's when boats are left outside for 10, 15, 20 years and it rots. Well, that's going to happen anywhere. You have to take care of them. So the aluminum lasts forever, but it's all the other building materials. So that's the way we're doing it. That's what we're going with. I know lots of other people use aluminum angle iron, rivets, that kind of stuff. That gets rather expensive. I'm trying to use materials that I already have. Trying to keep the cost down a bit. It's already gotten way more expensive, and what costs all the money is boat paraphernalia. Anchors, anchor ropes, cleats on the side, marine wire, your light for the front and the back, all, battery, all that. You start adding all that up. Next thing you know, you're blowing $1,000 on a $300 boat like that, and you can go out and buy a $1,300 boat ready to roll. So we're just trying to do everything that we can to keep the cost down. So just stay tuned and enjoy the video. Okay, so at this point, what I'm getting ready to do here, I wanted to remove that front seat before I built the decking over top because I wanted all that extra room for storage. I know that would have given me something to screw some of my wood supports on, but you'll see further in the video how we attached it all. I used a simple 4-inch grinder with a cutting wheel, cut it right off, did a wonderful job. It turned out really good. I needed that extra room for the storage. The deck, I wanted to bring it up flush with the top of the boat. And you know as well as I do, especially a smaller boat, you want as much storage as possible. My plan is to possibly put a trolling motor on it. Trolling motor battery, so I need a compartment. And of course, you got to have all your safety equipment, first aid kit, life jackets, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted the storage for that, rope, so on and so forth. So here I'm using the treated lumber. I cut it into 2x2s. One, I wanted to keep the weight down. Two, I wanted as much room in there as possible, and I just felt like 2x4s would have made it too heavy. So what I did, I cut them all to fit, glued and screwed them together, and you will see a little bit further on, we actually put L brackets on them. I supported everything before we ever got the plywood on it. So and here I was still kind of half flying by the seat of my pants trying to figure it out. I watched a million YouTube videos on how everybody does it and different ways you can do it. I like Backwater Boat Rehab. I love his stuff. He keeps it simple. Of course, everybody knows about Tiny Boat Nation. They do a wonderful job, but I wasn't trying to turn this into a bass boat, because I am not per se a bass fisherman. I'm a multi-species fisherman. I guess you would say my main fish is crappie, but a crappie fish, bass fish, bluegill fish, walleye fish, sometimes white bass. But here you can see the two supports in the middle that I was putting on, and that's because I have a seat going up there. So I need to make sure we had plenty of support. And it was all coming together. And of course, like I said, a lot of this was designed in my head. It's not like I sketched it out on a piece of paper or anything. Flying by the seat of my pants. But when you see the finished product, it turned out really well. Really, really well, and it's more than sturdy. So yeah, just stay tuned and enjoy the video as we put it together. Now here, this is the plywood for the top deck on the front of the boat that I'm building. I am cutting out the area where the trolling motor battery will go. Of course, using the jigsaw, getting it cut out. I bought one of those plastic door latches off of Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive, and it worked out pretty nice. You'll see here in the video we're getting things cut out. You know, guys, and you don't need special tools to do this. Simple carpenter tools: jigsaw, drill, skill saw, a impact to run your screws in. I mean, nothing fancy, just simple tools at home. Anybody can do this if you have any kind of what do you want to call it, handyman skill set, as far as if you can paint, sand, measure, cut a piece of wood, anybody can do this. And I think it turned out pretty nice. Pretty nice. So as you can see, got the deck fitted on top. There's my hole for the compartment. And here I'm getting ready to measure the hole for the boat seat that's going to go up there. Remember the 2 supports I put in? That's why I put the supports in, because I knew I was going to be mounting a seat up there. And I had to carry the weight because you don't know who's going to be sitting up there. They might be rather heavy, and it's got to hold them. Now at this point, like I said, this is exterior plywood, okay? But it is not marine plywood. So this is Thompson's water seal, and I waterproofed it. The top, the bottom, the edges, I put 2 coats on everything. I put it on real heavy, and I opted to brush it instead of using a roller because I wanted it to go on really, really heavy. Because the plywood, I wanted to use aluminum, but it would have got way too expensive. And had I done all that, I could have just went out and bought another boat. As I said earlier in the video, boats can get expensive really quickly. I mean, this sheet of exterior grade plywood, I believe, was either $50 or $70 for one 4x8 sheet. Of course, that's all I needed. But, so you start adding the plywood up. You start, well, now I got to have waterproofing. So now you just spend another, $25-30 on a gallon of waterproofing. You paint the boat, $100 for paint. I mean, it just adds up. It just keeps going and going. So you got to really just pay attention to keep the costs down. So at this point, what we're doing in the boat is this back seat, I wanted to open it up and put 2 compartments. Seat in the middle, compartment on each side. Actually, a seat on the left side and a compartment on the right-hand side so that I could put a tiller motor on the back. That compartment there eventually is going to house a battery, as you'll see in the future. Right here with the decking, after it was waterproofed and dried, after I fit it all up, here we're putting the carpet on it. This carpet is just from Lowe's. It was pretty expensive, about I don't know how much, I think a 6-foot piece, and it was more than enough to do the 2 benches and the top deck here and the face of the deck. I bought carpet glue, spread the carpet glue on the surface, laid it down flat, trimmed the edges, folded it up, simply stapled it, and stapled it heavy. I mean, I put the staples to it. So it worked out pretty good. It is it's not the old indoor-outdoor carpet. It's actually made for boats. It's actually like almost a plastic type. I believe it's probably recycled water bottles. I don't know. But it's not like the felt. I guess it's kind of in between the felt, so to speak, and the indoor-outdoor carpet. I think it's a pretty good product. Waterproof. It will take wear and tear. But turned out pretty nice. It wasn't too hard. I'm not an upholsterer. I'm just a do-it-yourselfer. And, utility knife, simple staple gun, a little bit of carpet glue that I bought, a little throwaway trowel to spread it. And it was pretty simple. It wasn't too hard. This is the face panel on the front of that deck, carpeting that as well. Like I said, use the carpet glue. It's waterproof. Then put the carpet on. So it's pretty simple. Just used a simple, as you can see, I'm using a 4-foot level for a straight edge, pair of shears, a utility knife, staple gun. Very, very simple. Anybody can do it. Hey guys, Mike here from Arrigo Outdoor Adventures, back on our jumboat build. Today we're starting on the wiring. We have to wire up a small switch panel because I want to be able to run the marker lights, the bilge pump, possibly a fish finder, anything else we may want to hook up in the future. So here we go. Okay guys, so at this point there's the battery in the battery tray, and then I was hooking up the switches, and that simple switch panel, here it is. I got it off of Amazon. Marine Products. I think it was 20 bucks. It comes pre-wired. Super simple to install. You just hook your positive wire up to the battery, negative up to the battery. Everything has fuses on it so you don't burn anything up. And of course, as you can see inside the boat, the inside of the boat got painted, and that's the compartment I was cutting out. I removed the styrofoam. There's the paint on the inside of the boat, the khaki color. And again, that is just a simple, I believe it's Rust-Oleum, khaki color, enamel oil base. I sanded the aluminum, brushed it on real heavy, 2 coats. It dried, and we're good to go. Here, I am installing the brand new transom on the boat. The one that I did 3 months earlier. The paint's dry. Those are all stainless steel screws. I'm re-drilling through the existing holes. We have the bracket on the bottom. Install that. We screwed it all together. And then of course, I'm going to cut the excess off on the bolts. What you will see at the end on part 3 will be next week, and then at the very end I'll be doing an overview on the entire finished product. But you can see the boat stool there to put the seat, and then of course the battery compartment with the switches right there. The has the front marker lights, the rear light on it, so that we could get it all, registered and all the safety features. But yeah, it's coming together. Not too bad for not knowing what I was doing. Like I said, any handyman, if you have any kind of handyman skills, you can drill a saw. Anybody can do this at home. It was pretty simple. I had bought the boat. It sat for 2 years, and I was like, okay, I'm going to restore this thing. So here we are. I think it's turning out pretty nice, and stay tuned for part 3 next week. Probably be the last video on it, and then I'll do a walk around overview of the whole thing. Thank you so much for watching.